Just a couple weeks ago, I headed over to Chase Bank and ended up trying to get one of my very first credit cards, which is now the Chase Freedom Unlimited. There's definitely a lot of options out there, but this is the one I felt was the best benefit for me. One of the promotions they had going on at the time is if you spend $500 in the first 3 months, you get $200 back right in your bank account. So that was a big no-brainer for me. But over the past couple weeks, I have really started to learn a lot about the credit game. Obviously, I'm brand new to this if this is one of my very first credit cards. So in this video, I'm gonna go over about 5 to 6 big things in the credit game that you should take into consideration, especially if you are in the beginning stages of just building your credit history and obviously trying to get maybe one of your first 1 to 3 credit cards. But before we get into it, obviously my name's Kish. I am an entrepreneur.
Nice.
Based out of Phoenix, Arizona. I talk all things business and lifestyle. So if you guys find some sort of value in today's video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to kind of be a part of the family and see more content of mine. But with that said, let's get right into it. So one thing a lot of newbies that are getting in the credit game like myself, and this is something I just learned a few weeks ago, is one of the most important things you can do is set up automatic payments for your credit card. In the end of the day, you really want to be super conscious of how you're spending that credit card. One thing I always like to consider it as is just my debit card, but essentially for all that money I'm spending, I'm just raising points. One super bad mindset that a lot of people have going into the credit game is using money that they don't really have. So one of the things that can really hurt you in the long-term credit game is making a late payment. You really never want to get to the point where you're paying interest on the money you're spending. So that's kind of why I refer to it almost as treating it like a debit card rather than the idea of just a credit card. Each bank is a little bit different on how you set up those automatic payments. At least set up automatic payments where you're automatically paying the full balance of that credit card every single month on the same day. Once this is set up, you really never have to worry about late payments, and your credit game should just be building over time. So 2, and this is something I did right before I applied for my credit card, is just generally knowing what your credit score is. Now, if you're watching this video, just know that if you want to check your credit score, you can pull your credit score once for free from annualcredit.com. But for me, I wanted to kind of take it to the next level. I'm playing definitely the long-term credit game. So I signed up for myfico.com. I chose the package where I'm paying $40 a month, which might seem a lot to you, but it covers all 3 credit bureaus and I can see anytime my credit is affected. I always think it's super important just to know where you're at to see if it's even worth trying to apply for the credit card. Every time you are applying for one of these, they do take hard pulls, which obviously means your credit is going to take a little bit of a hit. So there really is no point of potentially applying for a credit card if you know just based on general guidelines, you probably will not get approved. Number 3, and this is something I don't really see a lot of people talk about, but when you're applying for your credit card and you do get approved, and if you're doing this online, I would actually call into customer support and see if you can kind of get your credit card expedited so you can get it a lot sooner. If you're doing it in person, you just simply should ask the personal banker you're working with. If there is some sort of kickback, like with my Chase Freedom Unlimited, if I spent $500 in 3 months, I got $200 back. But right when you do get approved, that's when that grace period starts. So the quicker you do get that credit card in the mail obviously means the quicker you can start getting towards that whatever limit you need to reach to get that benefit. Number 4, and this is something that is a little bit controversial, there's no set in stone thing, but in my recommendation, I always like to apply for these credit cards in person. I think building a relationship with the personal banker who's going to be the one who actually helps you sign up for that credit card is super important, whatever bank you're kind of working with. Now, I obviously cannot guarantee that they're going to give you specials or anything like that, but if you start building that relationship with the personal banker, especially after your first credit card and you start applying for other ones, they're going to be there every step of the way, kind of being your personal contact and sometimes even making recommendations when some of the best benefits are coming out in the year for a certain credit card. Now, as I said in the beginning, applying online or in person really doesn't have any definitive numbers that have been proven to show that one is more effective than the other. But if you're just starting out like me, it might be beneficial to try a personal personal banker, and then when you're applying for the next credit card, trying it online. Number 4, and this is really dependent on the credit card that you do get approved for. If you go into the actual portal of your credit cards, maybe like Chase is the Chase Rewards portal, you need to go and kind of look at all offers that are presentable to you. A lot of the times in these promotions that you see on TV or that your banker tells you or they tell you over the phone, isn't everything that they do offer with the credit card. Sometimes in the back end, you have to go and activate certain offers where you simply just click activate and the offers will then be on your credit card. Where if you didn't go ahead and check that kind of on the website, whatever bank you're working with, you are potentially missing out on additional points or higher points to dollar ratios that you could be getting simply if you checked. And number 5, and this is kind of a tangent of what I just talked about, but truly understand your credit card. One, and as I said this before, treat it like a debit card, especially in the beginning. Those initial few months are really going to set the tone for how you treat credit cards and potentially if you're going to use them to their maximum ability. The second underlining point with kind of understanding your credit card is understand before you're actually going to go get that first, second, or third credit card if it actually benefits you. I've seen a lot of friends and family of mine always go after credit cards because one, they're like really cool looking, or things like the Amex Platinum just are just straight metal. But at the end of the day, they have fees that are associated with them. And sometimes people are getting credit cards for the wrong reason. The reason I got the Chase Freedom Unlimited was simply because one, the promotional offer was decent, but two, I spend a decent amount of money on dining. Some other credit cards that you potentially could get, one might have annual fees. Some are good for travel, some are good for dining, some are good for grocery shopping. So you really should do your research and know why you're applying for a certain credit card. And then the last point in understanding your credit card is just really understanding your credit limit. You really need to take into account what you got approved for and what your utilization is going to look like. Now again, I'm not really a credit expert, but just looking on the basic internet, you can find that the general kind of tally is that you should be below 30% utilization of that credit card. So let's say you have a credit limit of $5,000 and you're putting $4,000 of your expenses on there every single month. The credit card companies and the bureaus are going to see that as suspicious activity and that you're using too much of the credit allowed. Now that's one really specific example, and obviously credit is different for every single person. Now I hope that this video kind of enabled you to kind of think a little bit more about the credit game and start to see that you need to take this a little bit more methodical than you really were initially thinking. The credit space is honestly, as I'm learning, I hope you guys are learning too, because there's so many different aspects to it. But the biggest thing that I can recommend just as a beginner is to simply start. The younger you start building your credit and the more lines of credit that you do have and you age them longer and longer, the bigger chance you will have at having some of those 800 plus credit scores, which obviously are going to help you immensely in the future. So if you guys found some value in today's video, don't forget a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more videos. I obviously don't talk all about credit. I do other business, stocks, lifestyle, this office, anything you can kind of think of. But if you guys want to see anything or have any questions, don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Check out the Instagram if you guys want to see kind of the more day-to-day activities of my life. But with that said, I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.